Yep. Let's just keep it going, right? See what I'll go on there. I can't play the music. Every time I play music, YouTube block me on Facebook. I should freestyle to this right here. To my intro. What should I say? You must slow. What you wanna? You don't wanna. Joanna, your busy body, busy tonight, yes. Joanna, making a little body tonight, yes. Joanna, you're busy. All right, dash through that. How about that? Yeah, all right. See me, I can get myself in that trouble. I'm not try. All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Evening People Show. I am late today. You think I don't know I'm late? I know I'm late. You don't have to tell me I'm late. But whenever I take it upon myself to have, can I say diva, me and our friend like that? I don't know. When I have these exceptionally beautiful women on the show, it just takes them a little longer, mate. If you don't know, you just don't know. It takes them a little longer to get it all together, doesn't it? Yep. So I have one of those today. Let me see if I can add her on here real quick. I'm not ready yet. Charmaine, my dear. So if this is your first time checking out the Evening People Show, hi, I'm Martin, and I'm your host. And on this show, we have live poetry reading. We interview folks. We have a ton of laughs, and it is just entertainment, man. You know what I mean? I already did like 3 of my accents already, and we just getting started. My guest tonight, however, is somebody that I've wanted on the show for a minute. You see me over here shuffling cards? I'm over here shuffling cards. I'm about to talk about these cards I'm shuffling here in a minute. I'm so excited. Charmaine, I wanted you on the show for so long. She couldn't make it. I couldn't make it. I had double booked, all kind of things. But today is a day when Miss Charmaine Radway joins the Evening People Show, folks. I have Lioness Reed checking in. That's supposed to be like Mandeville. I think I have Kingston. And I have North Carolina, you the Megan. Bless up yourself, man. All right, so we're gonna have a good show today. I have a good show lined up for y'all. Charmaine, you know I can see you, right? You know I can see you. Stop playing. Stop it. What are you doing? Stop it. Are you ready? She is back here doing the most. She is backstage doing the most. Okay, so my guest today is Charmaine Radway. I'm not even gonna mention her 9 to 5. I'm gonna have her tell you about that. But she's a podcaster and she's a creator of Yakat. Yakat is what I was shuffling over here. So can I tell you, Yakat is like the coolest concept I have come across in forever. And I'm so excited. I'm gonna buy everything they have to sell just cause, and it's gonna be great. So hear this. We have New York in the house too. Miss Bocha is in the house. Bless up yourself, Miss Bocha. All right, I'm not going to dilly-dally anymore because I have quite a bit I want to get into with Charmaine. Now, I've seen a lot of interviews with her, and everybody wants to talk about yard cards and all these things. I have some other things I want to talk about. And just because it's her, I'm going to mix up the show a little bit. I'm not going to do it the standard way we usually do it. So, all right, stay tuned. And we're going to have some fun with it. Without further ado, Charmaine, you ready? I'm going to ask you. I can see. Are you ready? She wants 1 minute. You see? Do you see why we were late? This is why we were late. This is why I was late, and I apologize. But I want to say thank you to all my guests that join the show from time to time. Y'all know I'm down with all kinds of shenanigans. Oh, can I tell y'all real quick while Charmaine getting herself together? So I'm chilling with my daughter today, and she says to me, how can I say this? She says to me that she hung out with this boy, this male, this person from the male species she hung out with, yeah? And she's going to hang out with boys. They're going to go to the library, right? And I'm thinking about when I was 16, I went to the library with a girl. Okay, I can't go any further. I'm not ready. I wasn't ready. She sprung it on me. I asked her for 24 hours to come up with my response. I think I'm going to get a friend of mine to simulate what Will Smith and Mark Lawrence did in Bad Boys when his daughter. I think I'm going to do that. I don't think it's the right thing to do. And I'm going to need help. I'm going to actually, at the end of the show, take suggestions as to how to handle that particular situation. Bless up everybody that's here tomorrow, McPherson, Purpose Driven. I love y'all checking in, man. All right. Miss Radway, you ready? All right. Without further ado, here we go. One time.
Hi.
Charmaine, you think
why you have to do me that though? Like, what? I could hear you.
I know you could hear me. That was the whole idea. But you know what? It's lovely to have you, though.
I am excited to be here. Super
you are
excited.
you're somebody that I actually honestly admired from a distance. I like what you're doing. I think I've said this to you. I like what you do, and like there's one thing, and I think I mentioned this at one point to you, that it's so sad that people of like minds, we have to be so spread out. There are a lot of us from Little Mandeville that are all over. We're in the States, we're in Europe, we're everywhere. And it's just so pity we couldn't all actually have the ability to stay in the same place. We could get our minds together and come up with great things.
Absolutely.
Like Yawd cats. I'm just saying. All right, I can't wait. I can't wait. But tell her to say a long time I want the lady for the show. Easy the Lord down. Bless up yourself, my friend. Bless up yourself. All right, so let's get right into it here. We'll actually chat pure foolishness for 7 minutes. So, Miss Radway, nice of you to join us, isn't it?
I am happy to be here. As much as you cussed me off a while ago, and
that's not what that was. That's not what that was. That is not what that was.
It was a lot.
If it came off as such, I apologize.
It's fine. It's fine. You're like family. It's totally okay.
There you go. I can appreciate that. Carlos Beckford, bless up yourself. Bless up yourself, Carlos. So let's do this. So everybody is finding out who Charmaine is now, right? But before all that, we're going to rewind a little bit. Before Charmaine was a podcaster, before Yard Cards, there was Charmaine, the UTech student studying medical technology. Now, who did that Charmaine want to be when she grew up?
Oh, I wanted to be a doctor. It's cliche, but I was, just doing this is how it is. Like, you do well in the sciences, they're like, all right, nothing else exists. Just become a doctor. Throughout the process, I realized that I actually didn't like being in the emergency room setting, and I didn't like seeing people sick because I'm an extreme empath.
It's intense.
So then I kind of just switched to, let me think about something that maybe in the background, maybe research based, maybe something a little bit more clinical where I don't have to cry every time a patient comes in. So pretty much I switched my whole trajectory like really early on, and I thought about, at the same time I wanted to do something that was a career. So I didn't want to do like a pure sciences, do like chemistry or biology. So I decided to go into clinical lab science or medical technology, as I thought, you know what, I can get a job in this. I'll still be doing what I like, and it's great. So I kind of switched and pursued my degree at UTech in medical tech.
And that actually is the field that you're in now. You're in the medical device quality and regulatory affairs field. Yeah. Okay, my girl, what that mean?
So it's kind of like a full circle moment, because I didn't even know this career existed. And when you mentioned like wanting people to be in the same space doing the same thing, as you know, sometimes it's difficult to find some of those opportunities if you don't see them, right? So actually left Jamaica to do my graduate studies, and when I was finished, I had no idea. Well, I was working in the lab, but I had no idea that the medical device industry kind of existed in the way it does. So I had a friend who was already working in the industry, and she said, "Hey, a lot of your skills that you learned doing microbiology, hematology, that thing, you can actually transfer it to quality."
Microbiology. Hear them bright people something about?
No, that's my thing. That's my thing. So, so I work in that industry for a company that actually manufactures instruments that you use for lab tests. So if you go to get some blood work done, it's probably a company that I work for.
Test you one bunks and burn on there something?
No. So, so when you get a blood test, it's tested on an instrument.
Okay.
So it's different instruments for different tests. So my company is primarily hematology, which is blood work to diagnose cancer. That's the easiest way for me to cancer or other blood-borne diseases, blood diseases, right? So that's the company I work for, and these instruments are huge. They throw on the samples on them and they generate your results. So what my job is to make sure the instruments are working well, that they are functioning per global regulations. It sounds more fancy than it
kind of like Abby in NCIS.
Not from like a crime catching criminals.
Well, not crime per se, but the instruments themselves.
Yeah, I mean, there's some industries that use different devices for that kind of purpose, for forensic purposes. But this is primarily just diagnostic. So I really take my job seriously, because the funny part about it is that if I go to get a blood test, it's likely that instruments and a lot of what I input into the product development is actually going to help me or people that I know. So it's kind of near and dear to my heart.
Awesome. So you're still getting the work done in that area of helping, only you're not on the front line dealing with the blood and gore, yeah?
Absolutely. It worked out.
Julian Lee. Bless. This is somebody else I want to the show. And Julian Lee, like I said, when we were on G-Code show, we need to link. All right, so this is the part of the mix-up that I say I'm going to throw on in this show here. Firstly, none of the interviews I've seen with you, nobody asked you these questions. And one of the points I wanted to bring out with asking these questions is for people to kind of get a grasp of the fact that you don't have to, because those things have nothing to do with being a podcaster. Those things have nothing to do with creating a concept like Yawd cards. You know what I mean? Even my 9 to 5 myself had nothing to do with writing poetry. Nobody at my job even knows I write poetry or have a book. Like, they're two separate things. Right. What I wanted to bring out with that is for people to say, hey, guy, you don't have to stay in this bottle. You don't have to stay in this box. Yes, you might have gone to school to do this thing. However, this other thing that you're also good at, there's nobody saying you don't have to pursue that simultaneously as well. And if at any point in your life you realize that the opportunity presents itself for you to do something with that, do something with it. You know what I mean? Don't be some 75-year-old guy and say, boy, I coulda, woulda, shoulda. No. Do it right now. So this is the mix-up part now. We're gonna throw the poetry reading in the show all over. So you're gonna read a couple poems for me today. Okay. You ready? Which one are you gonna read first?
Are you gonna show it or do I just?
No, but now I'll show it.
Okay, so I'm ready because I know you.
These were some of the king. Okay, I'm now throw you on my boss again. I apologize. Please go ahead, my dear. No, we're done. Not here.
I have it ready. So which one you want?
No, which one you want?
Okay.
Ladies' preference.
I was actually practicing this, so.
Take your time. You can't go wrong. You know you can't go wrong.
No, I told you I was practicing. So, all right.
Okay, go for it. Whenever you're ready.
Okay, so this one is Emotionless.
Emotionless. I don't think Emotionless has ever been read on the show, so this is great. Go for it.
Okay. All right, so I see the emotions on your faces, but deep down I feel nothing. I know all the right words to say, but for me, they lack meaning. When they close their eyes and cry, I look around and analyze. They raise their hands on bended knees. I do a head count in groups of threes. I often wonder, what do they feel? How do they know that this is real? Still, I do not doubt their commitment. Yet I struggle with feelings of resentment. Why them? Why not me? Is this some twisted hypocrisy? Have my actions made me not worthy to share in this spiritual revelry? They run, they shake, the spirit takes over. I look to the sky expecting a shower. A filling, a quickening deep down in my belly. I focus, I wait, I come up empty. Selections from the Chronicles of a Black Man, Book 3.
And them should know. Sky. Now, let me just ask you one question real quick. What comes to mind when you read something like that? The poem is called Emotionless. What is being described here?
Oh, I'm just visualizing the Apostolic Church.
Okay, let me take a moment and gather myself. Elaborate, please.
No, I mean, when I was reading it, because I'm honest, to be honest, like I'm not.
That's why I want your honesty.
I'm not super into poetry, but this kind of caught me because when I got to, is it stanza? Is that what you say?
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so when you mentioned people running and shaking in the spirit, and you're kind of looking for, what's causing this, I immediately thought of church and getting in spirit and revelry, which is very synonymous with
So let's do this. Who is from whose perspective is the poem being written from or written from? Like,
looking in from someone who has no idea what's going on and have no idea what this emotion is that they're feeling. That's what I got from it.
So it's like somebody's kind of like one of those people who go to church only on Easter and Christmas.
And the church, or they just don't fully understand what's happening, which is fear.
Mm-hmm. All right, cool. So hey, emotionless, and I like that. It's a pity. Well, another time we're gonna have you, and we could get into emotionless real good.
Which is funny. It's kind of like an oxymoron because I'm not emotionless. So it was funny that I actually read that.
Yeah. You see, we're moving on up like George and Weezy, babe. Okay, check this. So you became a podcaster in 2019. You host Culture Shock Abroad, and can I say, my first time with Culture Shock Abroad reminded me so much of Running African with Kaboo. It was, you had some lady or the other on there. The thing was deep. It was real. I loved it. It ran for I don't know how long, and I stayed up and listened to the whole thing. And I loved it. It was great. Now, tell us about the idea behind Culture Shock Abroad and your assessment of it so far.
Okay, so initially, the reason why I started a podcast was actually my friend's idea because we're in a group chat and they're like, you talk so much. Like, literally, you're always saying something. We listen, it makes sense, but sis, you need to translate that to something else because you just talk a lot. So I decided, I kind of toyed around with, do I make a YouTube? Then, of course, I'm always late, as you can see. So I'm just like, I'm not trying to. I'm super conscious. I'm like, I'm not trying to sit in front of the camera every day. So let me do something where I can just record my voice. And I just remember actually this came to me like about 6 weeks ago. Well, actually I was in Jamaica and I remember this lady, I was in high school and this lady came up to me. I don't know her. And she said to me, you have a radio voice and you should absolutely go into broadcasting. Actually, I do see you, doing a radio show. And she actually told me that. I don't know who this woman was. I was like, So it was kind of funny how like people speak things into your life and you don't really understand why or, what they're saying to you. Then at that point I was like, all right, let me actually try to find out how to do a podcast. I was listening to a few podcasts before, but had no idea what I was doing.
Right.
So I came up with the name. It was actually called Culture Shock with Charm. And when you start something, it's not perfect. It's good. It's not perfect, but you just
right.
So, and I really started it to kind of talk about issues with moving abroad, traveling abroad, for Caribbean people, Jamaicans specifically. And then a lot of questions I got was traveling, because I would travel a lot, so people always had questions about my experience. So I talked about like, budgeting, how to travel certain places, talk about family when you live abroad, just a ton of topics. And then the pandemic hit. So things kind of changed, and I had some time. I paused the podcast for a while, and I think I started thinking about how do I make this better and more inclusive? And I hate the name. It's so cheesy. But so I just woke up one day and I'm like, culture shock abroad, because really and truly that's what it embodies.
Right.
Being abroad and the culture shock, and you come off of the plane and you see foreign and it's like, and it's a foreign look, and my family here is not nice to me anymore, and it's just so many different things. So realness. So it evolved into that, and the guests have been more, from I would say more or less a lot of people who have lived abroad, grew up in Jamaica, who kind of share their experience, and what I really wanted to portray was how real leaving home is, and how it's not always a bed of roses, and it's
True.
not always glittery. And a lot of us as Jamaicans, we have to be very honest with the people back home with what life is really like.
That's not on the brochure, right?
In foreign, right? So
not on the brochure.
So I explore a lot of that, and also a lot of what we talk about is things that we don't talk about enough, which is why your show is so great, which is the emotional and the trauma aspect of growing up in Jamaica that we kind of just sweep under the rug.
Yeah.
The colorism, the school system. So I just like dive into all of that. So yeah, that's really what the culture shock abroad is, and it's really to encapsulate Jamaican experience at home and abroad, and how our upbringing kind of influences where we are in life now.
I like it. Nice. All right, so we're getting to my part of the show now. May I take up what my deck again? May I take up what my deck and shuffle?
I hope you're not gonna ask me questions.
I'm sorry?
I hope you're not going to ask me any of those questions, because I'm not ready.
About this? No. I wouldn't do that. This is for another time and another place. Now, you are the creator of Yawd cards. And like I said, you go and pick up. Let me see if it go pick up. Somehow it now pick up, All right, see Yawd cards there.
Now.
See there. Okay. Yawd cards, like I say, is one of the coolest concepts I have encountered in modern times. You created them. For the viewers who don't know, I know, but for the people who don't know, tell us about the concept behind Yawd cards.
All right, so I'll tell you how it started, and then kind of where we are and where we hope to get. So I keep saying we, but it's really me. So the pandemic hit, and really and truly, I'll be honest, I wanted to find two things. I wanted to do. I wanted to find a way to connect my brand with people, and also to monetize. Like, a lot of people were selling t-shirts and apparel and different things for their brand, like culture shock.
Yeah, I see your culture shock. I see it, boy. I see it.
So I decided that I wanted to do something that I could really connect people with, but I could also have it as a stream of income, to be honest. So I decided I wanted to do games. I had no idea where I wanted to start with the games. So I had to do a lot of research, and I was just there, like, Googling, trying to figure out like what would actually work and what can I invest in that will make sense. So then I stumbled on this article about how horrible the divorce rates were. Globally, not just in Jamaica or anywhere, but and I could see that for myself with just the impact of the pandemic on just relationships in general. And I just decided, okay, I'm gonna start a line of games, but I'm gonna start with couples. And then I had friends who were dating online and trying to like meet people in like a pandemic, and I'm like, oh my God, how are you doing this? So then I decided, what, I wanted to create something like even dating for myself. What kind of questions was I asking that I think was helpful. Being in long-term relationships, what questions you really need to ask, because sometimes people don't ask questions because it's like, it's our culture. Sometimes we don't, Jamaicans are vocal about everything else except certain things to do with relationship, love. You don't want to talk about stuff like that.
True that.
Especially, I mean, not to be like gender biased, but the men are less expressive. So
I'm a hybrid. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying in general, the women who more likely say, yeah, I want this, I want flowers, I want that, and men will probably not say that, right? So I just sat there and just came up with questions I think would be helpful to me, and may have been helpful to myself when I was trying to figure things out. And then I just created a date night edition for Yakat, and then I sat down and on a couple weekends I came up with different concepts, because I'm like, I don't just want it for couples, I want it for family. Like, you may not be dating, but you're hanging out with your friends. And you want games for your family to enjoy. You want games for your grandparents to enjoy. So I expanded the concept to family and friends. So the family and friends line is actually going to be the biggest line. So I dropped one other game, which is the Yawd style story time.
Whoa. My girl, my answer all of my question.
I'm sorry. You have to stop me.
All right, hold on. May I stop you right there, so you get too much trouble. No, the one I actually have date night. And somebody said, where can they get the deck from? I'll let you tell them that at the end. And you should have put the link in, I think, long time. Anyway, I have the date night one. Now, the new squeeze or date night one deck is designed to spark conversation that will help gauge your connection with a new person. Now, you just mentioned something related to this. What are some of the questions you believe should be asked in this stage of relationship that are often not asked and ultimately lead to the demise of the success of the relationship, or the relationship not being successful?
I think one of the key ones is, what is your love language?
Okay.
I just having conversations with friends and my own siblings, like, I'm like, do you guys know what love languages are? Oh, what that? Like, what is that? And when you think about love language, it sounds like something very, weird to talk about, but it really is essentially, how do you like to receive love? How do you, what would make you acknowledge that I really care for you based on, what action I'm doing? So I think that's a very important question. If you're with somebody and they like to receive gifts, but you like to spend time with them, I can already see the person thinking that you don't care because you ain't buy them anything. And that may be something that is important to them. So it just depends. That question to me is very important to understand, especially early out, because now you know how to set the expectations. Okay. Another question I think is important, but people fail to ask, is, do you believe in a prenuptial agreement? Now, that question is, some people might think it's too premature to be asking that in the early stages, but also, again, you need to set the stage for what the expectations are. If this person is like, no, I'm totally against it, is that okay for you?
Right.
So those questions for me are like the top questions, because yes, you want your marriage to last forever and you want this relationship to last forever, but you also need to understand what people's ideas are for your future, so you can kind of gauge if, hey, is this something for me? So those are some of my questions. I could go on, but
those two will hold for now. All right, that's cool. Now, the other deck is for the long time squeeze. Yeah. Now, the long time squeeze deck is more for seasoned couples to rekindle their fire. Right. Now, the idea of always dating your spouse, and I'm going to put it in air quotes, always dating your spouse is pretty much common knowledge. You know what I mean? However, divorce statistics, as you pointed out, are steadily moving in a direction that is not conducive with that thing being so well known. Now, why do you think people are missing the essentials for relationship survival when all of these necessary characteristics are out there for everyone to know?
Because life happens, like there's so many things that like you get into a relationship or you get married and it's like, oh, it's supposed to be so great. We're gonna wake up every morning and kiss, and that doesn't work. If somebody tell you that, they lying. So but life happens, and life comes in the form of children, and it comes in the form of financial struggles, and there is work struggles, and there's just, in-laws struggles, and all of these things just get thrown into your marriage, and now you have to your long-term relationship, and now you have to figure it out, right?
Yeah.
So in those moments, people necessarily don't stop to think, why did we get married? What makes us who we are, and how can we make it better? Because all these things is like a firing line. It's like it doesn't stop. So I feel like having that concept where you date, like you rightfully said, you're constantly dating, taking the time to say, hey, are you okay? I know there's a lot going on, but can we just talk about what's happening? People don't do that. So they just go, it's like a snowball effect. And then twos, me kick you out, me can't bother with you. So I think it's important to stop, to have your time as a couple to date yourself and to date each other, and to ask the right questions.
Well, do you think the former can save the latter?
I'm sorry.
Do you think the former can save the latter, in that if the correct questions are asked on the front end, in the date night section of the relationship, it can actually save the latter part of the relationship, where we now have a better understanding of each other, so the probability of success now increases?
Absolutely. It does help, but sometimes just emotions get in the way. And a lot of times, like for women, because society puts so much pressure on us to be in a relationship at a certain time, to be married at a certain time, to have a child at a certain time, right? So the pressure sometimes can cause us to not really hear what this person is saying, because unfortunately there are lots of, and I will say women, I know I'm probably going to get bashed for this, but a lot of times what happens is we have an idea of where we need this is what we need to do. We have to be married. So when we find someone, we fit them into that, right, without even thinking of who is this person and what do they want, right?
Oh boy.
So
yeah, don't step on the people. Him can't take your time. Take your time.
Things them, Me talk fear. Fear is fear, So if it is a situation where you have to take the step back, even when you're in the relationship, to still check in. Because the person that you met 10 years ago when you were dating is probably a different person now. And as I described, in-laws and babies and stuff happen that you're not used to. So you have to check in with them. So even if you know them, things might change and you need to check in.
No, I concur. And just like you mentioned, when you read Emotionless, I think, how should I say this? You're right. I think the first poem in the book is called Intellectually in Love. And Intellectually in Love, as it implies, talks about two things that really don't go together: intellectually and in love. One kind of is more technical, practical. The other one is kind of more feeling. But I merge those two concepts because I think, like you rightly put it, a lot of times we go about love from a checklist standpoint. He is this, or she is this, this, and they this, that. All the boxes check. Yes, let's go do this. And in real life, we actually don't take enough time to actually dissect the actual things that actually matter. Now, what came to mind when you were answering that just now? You see me laugh off my face? Look, this is me laughing off my face. What came to me was, there's this idea that even like you say, yard cards, we are trying to bring back the good old days, so to speak. Grandma said take time to know her. Nowadays, no good up girl now. Date no man no for a long time. If a man want her, he need to step up. Like him have a 90-day timeline. From we meet and we exchange number, the clock is on. And if he not really propose within 90 days, then we not upon it. Now, yes, I'm exaggerating some of these things, but what do you think about that? How does that, is that a practical way to actually go about it?
So I have this thing where, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't want to speak for men. I think a man knows when he finds someone if he thinks this person is, worthy of being called his wife. I think men know. I think men know. I think they do.
So man don't know?
So I think they do. I
Women do
personally do.
too?
You can tell me otherwise. But I think
No, I'm asking
when a
about
man
women. No,
says
I
he,
know what it is for me. I'm ex boy all the way, but
okay.
the women don't know. I'm asking you. Women, you said men know. You didn't say
So the reason
people
why
know.
I say men know, because men are the ones who choose a wife. Like we're not choosing husbands in per se.
But
Like
that might
you
be the
are
problem right there.
proposing.
That might be the entire problem.
No, you proposing to us and we say yes or no.
And that might also be the entire problem. That
Right.
might
Like
be,
you guys are picking. You're
Shani,
picking.
that might be the underlying concept behind the entire problem.
So exactly, which is why I advocate. Here's my thing. This is why I advocate for women to find themselves, to know who you are and what you want. Because people, men, and I hate just saying men because it sounds like I'm bashing, but I'm fair. If a man is asking you to get married, and I'll go back to your question, I think you asked about the timeline. If a man is asking you to get married, you're thinking to yourself, is this something that makes sense long term for us, not just me? Is it something that makes sense? Because a lot of times women, we get proposed to and we're like, okay, I'm moving on, and it really requires a lot of personal evolution. You have to know yourself and what you want. That's why, sometimes people 10, 15 years are like, oh, what am I do? Am I mad? But I think the timeline is society pressure. That's what that is. Like you are dating somebody and people will not even know how long you've been together. Okay, so when's the wedding?
Especially if you go to church.
Oh no, forget church. Might as well you come out because them not gonna stop. And it's like, when is the wedding? And it never stops. It's like, when is the baby coming? And then it's like, okay, when is the other baby coming? When is the second baby? All right, you need a bigger house now that you have to. You need a bigger
Peer
car.
pressure much?
It's like society will have you expanding out your resources and your brain power trying to keep up. So I think a lot of women like fall into that pressure for the time, the ticking time, the biological clock. Me have everybody on Instagram and married. Mini, like stop. Like stop for like 2 seconds. Sis. A lot of friends that I have that have been married for 15, 20 years, they will say to me, listen, you know how much time me pack up my bag? And say, peace out.
Aye.
So you have to actually understand yourself, know what you want, and not succumb to the pressure of, well, it's been 6 months and he hasn't proposed, so him probably have a next woman.
Yes, I have somebody that say, yo, my word. You have somebody that tell you say, there's something that yes, he probably yes. And
Yeah,
if
girlie,
you
I
do this, you
want to
have to do this. And if that don't happen by this time, you have to do that.
And then, you really need to ask, because sometimes when you ask men, they'll ask themselves, like, are you ready for a relationship? Are you ready for marriage? Like, and not a wedding. Because I'm sorry to say, but a lot of women plan weddings, not marriage.
True. And oh my word. You see why I want to be on the show a long time? I need a moment here. Me have fun
No, I'm
now.
telling you, they
The
just,
makeup of a
it's
star run.
literally And here is, and I have no problems. I personally, I've been telling my friends I'm gonna elope, so there's no wedding planning. But I'm saying, the time that you should take the same time that you take to plan your wedding to actually plan what your marriage is going to look like for the most part. So you're asking the right questions. There's, you do your pre-counseling and all of that, but take it seriously, because it's not just the love part. This person is the person that you choose to marry is it's probably the most important decision you can make in your life, because that person you're having children with, obviously, your future depends on that. Where you're going to send your kids to school, how much you're going to be able to spend on X. Are you going to be able to pursue the career you wanted? Is this person ambitious? If I lose a parent or family member, is this person going to be there for me in grief? Like, it's these kinds of things that people don't necessarily think about when they're.
Those are not the boxes. Those are not on the
No.
boxes to be checked. The boxes that need to be checked are not that. The boxes that need to be checked is that, does he go to a Pentecostal church? Was he raised Pentecostal? Did his pastor say in Jesus' name when he baptized him? Does he speak in tongues? When you're talking about parents and what you're talking about, those things are not on the list of things to be checked, miss.
They need to be on the list, because then I'm saying that having a relationship doesn't mean companionship. There are lots of people who are in relationships and are seriously alone because they are incompatible with the person, because they didn't really ask the right questions up front.
Right. My girl, no, so we're gonna take a break, hey mate. We're gonna take a break. You think I get too hot now? All right, so I'm gonna give the audience a time to catch up. And get there. See Sharon Higgins. I say yes in a pure caps. I don't know where you say sweetheart, so but sweetheart, good. And most of the other comments were consistent with persons sharing the opinion that the opinions that you're putting forward. Okay. So we're good. We're good. We're moving on.
I'm also open to opposition, so if we don't agree,
yes. All right. So audience, go and queue up on the responses. You have to read the next thing now. Like we said, we're throwing the poetry in there at random.
Okay.
I have two more questions for you before we
I feel like the question them heated,
No, well, here's the thing though. When you say something and it triggers something in my brain, I have to just go with it, mate. It's organic.
That's what happens when people talk too much. See, my friends are absolutely correct. All right. Okay, so since we're talking about 90 days.
You see, Leanne, why you just talk up the things them?
Thanks, Leanne.
Mixup.
Then, okay, so I'm gonna read waiting.
Let's talk about waiting. Go for it.
All right. So I wait for her. She's late.
Yourself, yeah, read more. I was a joke this.
She's late. I feel like a stalker lurking by the gate. Back and forth I pace, wishing she'd exercise haste. The garage gate opens. I fear my pen is stuck. What is she wearing? Bright colors, I'm sure. Sexy as ever. Leaves me wanting more. Leopard-colored nails. Ornaments about. Beautiful little face. Cute little mouth. Padded bra and all. Sweet, sexy, and tall. Wanting her now and forever. Wanting it all.
Okay. Sorry. All right. Look at that, eh? So, waiting. So here's what had happened was that one guy that you had known back in the day, he told me about you, and he said I should write a poem about you, and I came up with. I said, what should I call it? Him say waiting, cause that's all I do. When I come to pick her up, she late. When we supposed to go somewhere, she late. We buy a ticket for so we have to give a ticket them because we never gonna make it in time. So how appropriate is this? How
very appropriate.
And yeah. How widespread is it though? How widespread is it?
Widespread with women being late. See, you guys have it easy. You can have 5 t-shirts, 2 jeans, 2 pair of sneakers, and you good for 365 days. I need 365 times 2 outfits. All
Okay.
right.
Okay,
Me
but
need
wait, where
time.
did this come from? Wait,
Me
who
need
told you that
time.
this was necessary?
No, hold on. You know what? Society established the standards of beauty, right? Like you can't step out look disheveled.
Okay.
All right. You can't step out looking raggedy. The society puts a lot of pressure on women to be kept.
Sharnita, all right, time out. Sharnita, throw stone off here. We're not gonna talk too loud.
You know what? I embrace it. I'm owning it. All right, I'm owning it. I'm late. I'm literally always late. Like,
I'm sorry, dear. Go ahead. You were saying.
yo, I was trying to put on a lot. Yo, it was going on. It was
Just you don't mind Sharnita. She ends up at the back of the class before every show ends. Don't mind her. Keep going.
No, I really don't mind. Yeah, I lost my train of thought because
I apologize. I apologize.
I was reading the comments and I lost my train of thought.
Mm-hmm.
But I think for, overall, I think there's a lot of society pressure for women to be kept. And
Right.
a lot of times we are keeping ourselves. Pat yourself on the back, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's more expensive for me to keep my upkeep for a woman because you're here, have to do your nails. You can't look shabby. You have to have on decent clothes. Yeah, you have to at least have your two of them do. Your slippers can't look like dry-foot slippers. So men have it so easy. It's like beard, wash your face, and on a skin always look good. Like we have to put on like 10 different serums to like have half the skin glow. So for women, if we sometimes it's like we are trying to look good for you.
No. Women are the problem with that whole scenario. That has nothing to do with men. That has nothing to do with men.
Yeah,
okay,
but you guys don't come on though, Martin.
Think about it.
Come on.
No, ma'am.
If you picking up a girl and she come out in a dry-foot slippers and one little duster, me know say you gotta drive off.
But here's the thing though. That's because you ladies have set the standard for what this thing should look like. So we go with it.
I don't think it's
okay, so here's what men did. Here's what men did. Men decided, you know what, guys? If we go on this path that our XXX compatriots are going down, it's gonna be a problem for us. We're gonna have to buy new this and that. This all a minute while we are paying for dinner and all. It don't make sense. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna just establish some baselines, and that's where we're gonna stick. But women, nah. They had the same option, but they chose not to. They say, you know what? We are going to one up the next girl every chance we get.
No, but you know what caused that though? It's the culture of patriarchy. It's being picked. Women are constantly being in competition with each other to be picked. Like it's historic. No, tell me if I'm lying.
No. Okay, let me ask you something. Let me throw something at you here. So if I go on Instagram and I hit search, so say I want up on Yakat, I may hit the search one. Before I type anything, a whole bunch of ladies, how should I say this? A whole bunch of ladies doing activities that highlight their posterior end pop up. Yeah? I haven't typed anything yet. All I did was hit search. And all these things come. It's almost like there's a worldwide booty competition goes on. So something like that, men cause something like that too?
Okay, so let's talk about that. So let's talk about women being competitive. So first, before I get to the business side of being a woman.
The business, I like that.
All right. So a lot of patriarchy, you pick the fairest. And I don't mean skin color. We could talk about that later. But patriarchy, you're picking the fairest, the sexiest, the youngest, the hottest, the nicest looking. And what that translates to women is, I have to always look my best. Like your mother used to tell us, say you need to go to a road. You can't go to a road look any one way. Parents don't necessarily tell their sons that. But the girls, like you need to make sure, say your skirt, iron, you might meet Mr. Right, your outfit.
Oh my word. Boy, I don't set yourself up.
No, but I'm saying, but this is all goes back to men do the choosing. So when you're growing up, women are being groomed to be wives. Like you need to learn to cook, you need to this. So it's that's kind of off tangent a little bit, but it's just like how the society structures certain things. Boys aren't necessarily saying, hey, as a husband, this you need to do it. No. Girls, as a wife, this is how you need to do it. You need to make sure say you shine up yourself and So what happens is when you go out into the world and there's a sea of people, you want to make sure say you stand out. So you hear you can't go look any your way, and the man them literally they're just like eeny meeny. I'm not saying this is something that women think about all the time, because I don't go out like, oh, hey, whatever. Sometimes it's literally how society set us up against each other naturally. So when you go out, a lot of women will like you walk out and you look good, and like, what does she have on? Knowing fully well say you look good. But it's literally.
But you're projecting society as if it is a separate entity. You're projecting society, and I apologize. You're projecting society as if it is a separate entity from people, from the other women. So aren't the other women this society?
No.
That is applying this same pressure.
No, so I'm talking about how patriarchy caused women to kind of be naturally competitive.
Okay.
More pressure on them. No. So you are, and I will say, when a lot of people will say, oh, women get dressed for other women, that's really what it is. Like, it's really walking in and just a look on my head. I want to shit have on. Like, I make sure say, your thing up there too. So, but when it comes to like the twerking Instagram, as you talk about, men are consumers. You are consumers of these things.
I am.
Like that's entertainment for men.
Okay.
Like, men are visual. For women, our pastime is not to go look at men, because we're not visual. We're emotional.
More substance.
Connective. Substance. You have to tell with something and they're like, that cute, or you smell good. It's like, but for men, it's like zoom in, like, yeah. But like that, you see. So you're naturally consumers. So when you're a natural consumer, what does that mean?
So women put stuff on the market.
So that was the business of being a woman.
I'm going to ask a question here. I'm going to ask a question, and I apologize. I'm apologizing before I ask it. So that means I'm supposed to just go like at the ATM and tell them to give me all of my money in $1 bills?
No.
And then we just go and $1 bill it out, like, see that.
When I say consume, when I mean consume, I'm not saying it's an extreme term, like, you go buy a woman.
No, I understand.
It really means men they consume material, and women recognize that a lot of men consume this very same material. So they profit from it, just like how you see OnlyFans, women making $2 million in a couple of weeks because consume. So that side of it is not really separate, but it's really just how men and women are set up. You are literally consuming because you're looking, you're looking, you're feeding into it. And women, there's some women who are just like, well, if you're looking, you're gonna pay me. So.
Right. Now I feel you. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this now. I'm gonna actually get to what you were itching to talk about before. The fact that Yawd cards has evolved. Yawd card has evolved. You guys sold out in the first week with your first two products, and you realized that Yawd card as a concept was bigger than you actually perceived. Now, is that a fair statement that is bigger than you actually perceive it to be? And what are the next dimensions of evolution that came for it after its inception?
Right. So as soon as we launched, grateful for everybody this is my first time even launching a business. I had no idea what I was doing, really. So as soon as we launched, people started asking, okay, great, I got the cards, but sis, we're going to need some games for family. Like, we're going to need kids. We're going to need, we need other things.
But tell us about everything.
But I'm like, okay, I got you, no problem. So I had to like go back to the drawing board, with the concepts I had to kind of like, make sure I'm targeting everybody. And a big part of doing Culture Shock abroad was seeing the the disparity between people who were first generation Jamaicans who were born abroad to Jamaican parents and who were born and raised in Jamaica. There's a lot that people don't know. So I wanted to expand. So that's the next step, and that is actually launching in August. The next line of cards, which is really reminiscent of old Jamaica, and also it's a teaching tool for people who just want to learn from their grandparents or just, you know, people who grew up in Jamaica actually. So that's where we are.
Nice. That is excellent. In fact, may I meet up with some friends tomorrow, and you might get some Yakat picture sent to your inbox, cars. May I carry with me? In fact, we almost went live without the cars. They were in the car. I have to run, go back.
I have mine, so don't worry. I always have.
You have to run, go downstairs. Okay, now, all right. Let's. I have another question for you, you know, Charmaine, but let's read something else now before we jump into the last question. I actually have on paper for you.
Okie dokes.
What are we reading?
Always locking. So we're reading another poem?
Yes, why not? This is the Evelyn People show, and that's what we do in these parts.
Okay, so the other one I had. All right, so this one is hold on. Okay. So as she sees it.
As she sees it. Go for it.
Okay.
You chose some good ones. You chose some good ones today, though. Waiting as she sees it. Let's hear about how she sees it.
Okay. So the imagery emerges from the page. She reminisces on the days, the inherent potential perceived, possessing no desire to leave. Rudely subtle. Did I just say subtle?
It's okay, dear. It's a tongue tie. It happens.
With a twist, intoxicated by every kiss. A journey to places never been, virtual sights never seen. The four corners of the walls invite, the emotions his kisses incite, the affectionate metaphors to describe, remembering his hands as they glide. From one erogenous zone to the next, hallucinogenic properties like being on eggs.
Wow.
Emotions
No, time out. Start over. I like it.
No, I'm not starting.
No, come on, you can do it. You can do it.
I was just stumbled on these, like, you know.
Okay. Well, you know what? Continue, my dear, because I can see this poem creeping you up. That's why I wanted to start over to watch your facial expressions. But I'm sorry. Go ahead, please continue.
From one erogenous zone to the next, hallucinogenic properties like being on X. Emotions overloaded and out of control. His aura so charismatic and bold. Yet I question myself and my resolve in a situation I know never to get involved. A small step that became a leap. I fear I think of him in my sleep. Wow. I dread that I've let him in too deep. Cross borders, I've made walls to keep. But despite all the rules I break, something about him makes me feel safe.
Okay. What should I ask here?
This sound like people, man. She do it.
Yeah, jump off on the chair.
I'm saying.
Okay, so
I got to say, yo.
Okay, let me.
I'm kidding.
Who's
That's very judgmental of me.
No. Actually, Shava, if that's what comes to you, that's what comes to you. Is that what you got though? What do you get? So that poem is kind of. It's interesting. I didn't remember it until you started reading it, and it's a good poem. I like it. What do you think?
I mean, it just seems like she's just overly in love with this person.
Is that a thing though? Overly in love?
Like lust. It sounds like lust. It don't sound like, you know.
No, but is it lust though? Is it lust though, or is it experiencing an experience that is mind blowing as it describes it to be? Yeah. It's either we believe that love still exists or we don't. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Yeah,
I think that people have a different. Everybody's concept is different.
So hang on, let me see if I can find it here. As she sees it. Where is that? As she sees it. Hold on there now, because I have to I'm gonna have to get my book here because we go actually dissect this for a minute here. All right, so she's describing him, right? Stanza 2, she says, rudely subtle with a twist, intoxicated by every kiss, a journey to places never seen, virtual sights, a journey to places never been, virtual sight, virtual sights never seen. The four corners of the wall invite the emotions his kisses incite, the affectionate metaphors to describe, remembering his hands as they glide from one erogenous zone to the next, hallucinogenic properties like being on X. How is this not just elation?
She just frightened me, man.
What you are judge a lady for? You are judge a lady.
She frightened.
How? Why does she have to frighten them?
I'm just kidding. No, you're absolutely correct. She had a very different mind-blowing encounter.
Yeah, why couldn't it be just swept? Why couldn't it be a swept off your feet type scenario?
That's why she needs some Yakat, like right after. Because she needs to know, make sure that little feeling she's feeling is not just a, toxic connection, but it's actually something, that won't drive her crazy.
Okay, so Sharon says she got distracted, but we draw her back in. We're glad you're back, my dear. We're glad we draw you back in. This lady with her hallucinogenic business. Now, 1 yard cards, the one I have in my hand. You see how we're mixing it up? We mix it up good today. 1 yard card I have in my hand says, and mind you now, the yard card deck I'm reading from is the one date night. This is for people that have just met or are just getting to know each other. And these are just cards to help them keep the conversation going. And this is really, really cool. I cannot overstate how cool these are. Now, the question says, do you think flirting is cheating? Now, you are out on your potential first date with someone. You're trying to get to know them. You want to understand the parameters of how they view their relationship and what they want to see if it aligns with what you want. And you decide to get some yard cards. You pull a card, and the card you pull says, do you think flirting is cheating? This is our first date, Charmaine. We're on our first date. Do you think flirting is cheating?
Oh, you're asking me?
I'm asking you. Why not? Personally,
here's what I would say. Like, if you are a natural flirt, like it depends. Like, if you are a natural flirt, like there's some people that then look on you and them start wink or it means nothing. That is just their demeanor.
Okay.
And you kind of know that.
No, I don't. That's freaky. Don't.
No. There's some guys. No, there's some guys that I met and they'll see you and they're like, what, hot, sexy. And then wink, and if his wife is there, and it's not a problem, right?
Okay.
I'm saying because she probably is like, you know what? That's how he is. Like,
okay,
he's chill like that. For me, if I'm in your presence and you are called to somebody personally, for me, because the questions for this, it's really there's no right or wrong in it. It's how you receive it.
No, true. Mm-hmm.
So for me, if you and I are at dinner and the waitress comes over and you're gonna tell her, say, our bottom round and she's sexy, then I eat that.
My girl, let me have my eyebrow raised on that one day.
That's what I'm saying. However, this is for new couples. There may be couples who are more seasoned who the man will say that and the wife is like, it's not a big deal.
Okay, I could see that.
You can't really see that. But for me, if it's something that you're going to constantly go out and be talking to women and, stand wink and this while you are in a relationship.
Shami, I don't know where I get them something from. But yeah, I'll feel my eyebrow raise on me XY chrome as well.
But I've seen it though. Like, I've seen it like literally. It happens. But then there's, as I said, sometimes as the relationship progresses, these things don't even matter. Because you're like, nobody don't want you anyway, but I'm just kidding. But I'm just saying, like, a lot of couples, like, whatever.
So I'm going to say something real quick. For me personally, like you mentioned personally, I started singing this song. The song Personally? The Afrobeats. Anyways, for me personally, personal. Anyways, no, I can't deal with that. I can't do that. So the women who and I get it. I'm probably gonna get bashed real good starting now. If we're together and you're my significant other exclusively, the whole dressing scandalously out there, expose everything, I'm not okay with that. Because for me, something about you need to apply specifically to me. If nothing about you applies specifically to me, I don't know what to do with that. You understand? You're out there, you have friends, and it's okay for you to have friends. You can have as many friends as you want. However, the relationship that you and I have as being somebody that are exclusively together in a particular kind of relationship, exclusive to us two, there has to be some aspect of that that is for me and me only. And if that does not exist, I don't want it. And it's okay if you think you have to, whatever. I'm just not the person for you. So in the initial Yard Cats date night settings, me I go make that crystal clear. And if it's not you, it's fine. But that's not me. That's not me. That's never gonna be me ever. And I'm not saying you have to dress like Sister Mary Martha from the convent. I'm not saying that at all. You know what I mean? I'm just saying some of these things that I'm seeing out there, where everything is out there for everybody, I can't meet that. I can't my significant other that it not gonna work, me gonna have a problem, it can't work.
I mean, I understand that. I do push back on sometimes on the dressing when it comes to relationships because I'm, divine feminist.
No, and it's not even infringing on being feminist though. It's not even an attempt to infringe upon feminism.
I believe a woman's body is beautiful. So, for me, but understand when you're getting into a relationship, that's probably something you need to ask too. Or you observe, like if you're not comfortable with your significant other wearing certain things on the streets. I remember there was a post on Instagram and there was a couple, they were married, I believe. And they were on vacation and the wife was in a very sexy dress. It was very sexy. And the guy was just there and he was fine with it. And there was a huge conversation about should he have allowed? See, that's the word that gets me.
And I concur. It shouldn't be allowed. Like, you are your own person and you are allowed to, not allowed per se, but you have the right to do whatever you want.
So that was the question. Should he be offended? Should he allow her to go in? And I
feel nothing to do with allow. I don't see allow in that.
Right. That word is what gets me because a woman's body is beautiful and she should be able to express it in the way that she feels comfortable. But at the end of the day, you're looking for compatibility. So you don't want to change the person who you're trying to be with to think like you. So if the person's like, I don't want you wearing no shots.
No, but then at the same time too, though, if you actually ask, like you said, the proper questions in the initial stages, you're not going to end up in the problem. Because you would not end up with someone who think they should do that when they know that that's not your thing. You know what I mean? Because
somebody asked a question. Sorry, I got distracted a second.
That's why I left it up there. That question, I left it up there for you. When you're ready. Go ahead. The question says, may I ask if two persons are dating and the guy meets a female and took the female's number, is that cheating?
Okay, so two people are together and he took another female's number?
Yes.
Unless, here's it. Unless the two of y'all, I have an etiquette. First, let me start with that. I have an etiquette. If I approach a couple, I'm acknowledging the female first.
Okay.
That's just me. I'm not running over to the man. Even if it's my friend, I don't know the female. I'm like introducing, hi, I'm Charmaine. How are you? And they'll be like, what? Joseph, where are you? Respect, right? First and foremost. If a man just walks over to her and asks for a number, for me, for it to be acceptable is if she walks over, introduce herself, and is a business exchange.
Okay.
If you are with, you're gonna make money anywhere. Like if you have a business, you have something going, and somebody's like, hey, I'm trying to buy this, blah blah blah, whatever, and then you can kind of see what the exchange is like. And they're like, hey, I'm trying to do this, whatever. I would be okay and comfortable with it, because if I'm gonna do what I'm doing, it doesn't need to happen there. It can happen wherever. I'd be
True
okay
that.
with it. I'm not gonna stop your bag because of my insecurity. So if you exchange number for make a business deal, go do what you do.
I don't think that's what they meant, love, but you're correct. I got
Oh
it.
no, that is the only way I would accept you.
That's the only scenario in which
No.
that is acceptable.
Otherwise,
All right, Charmaine. I think you answered my last question, kind of, sort of. But my last question was, what is next for Charmaine? What is next for Yard Cards? What is next for Culture Shock Abroad?
okay. So Culture Shock Abroad, I will say it's difficult balancing the Yakat business with, keeping up with the podcast. But
I know, right?
Right now, what I'm doing with Culture Shock Abroad is having more live sessions on Instagram. And I think I like what you're doing, because you actually have your guests in being able to interact. A big part of the culture shift was when I started the podcast. A lot of Caribbean people or Jamaicans don't listen to podcasts. They are on YouTube, or they are, on Instagram or Facebook. That's it. Podcast is just another app we have to deal with. So a lot of what I'm doing now is having live sessions, just providing value to the people who are there. So that's kind of what I'm doing, focusing on bringing on guests, or just having our chats on our Friday nights when we just talk about different things. And then eventually back, maybe in September, I'll go back to a regular schedule for the podcast. But for Yakat, I'm thinking big. I'm just, bringing out more games, eventually going online.
I love it.
So physical games into online games, and just expanding the brand.
Online Yard Cards. That will be a thing. That will be a thing. I love that. I love that.
That's it. That's really what the future is for business-wise, and, just working.
What about Charmaine? Like me come, even though you elope, me still show up, you know what I mean? Me have some rice and crow rice and all that something.
I saw a couple of them there. They're totally against it. I'm definitely eloping. Like, I don't even. The most they will get is we can just find a little beach and get a little pan chicken. Make a little bonfire and show to red stripe and enjoy yourself. But y'all ain't coming to no wedding.
But talk up the things them. Charmaine, you see right here, right now, we go forgive and forget. You see, I knew this show was going to be special, and the fact that you were a couple minutes late is irrelevant. Because
very irrelevant, so we won't hear it again.
Look at how you smashed it. You smashed it out of the ballpark. I'm talking about some out of the ballpark hit right there. I appreciate you, my dear. I do appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me, and your guests were great. I could see all the comments. Just see her. Melissa says she elope with me. Y'all ain't coming.
Hi, Melissa. Hey, Melissa, we could talk off the air and figure out. So we're going to throw rice. No matter what go on, where did you throw rice for people? What you feel like?
Nope. Me not feed no uno. So the figure it out.
You understand? Okay, my dear. I'm gonna let you go. I'll call you here in a little bit just to formally thank you. That's my mojo. But it was great. Hold on, I deal with Melissa one more time. Because me and Melissa seem like we're like minds.
I don't know what she's talking about.
Me and you both. I tell you, Melissa, me I'll link you here. We have a plans. We have put something together.
Jamaica, we can't deal with my culture. They don't do well at weddings. I cannot deal with it. She don't do well.
No, she said she don't tell you. She don't have foolishness. She don't have foolishness. Carrie. All right. All the best. All right. So people, make sure you go in and put in the Yard Cards link. I got my Yard Cards within days. I need to go back in and get some more Yard Cards because this something I got nice. Talk. It's kind, like I said, it's kind of like books. I had who did I have on here the other day? This young lady, and every time I think about her name hit me, and her book is out of reach, where I had to get up and reach for it. I'm gonna now do that. But anyways, no, it's nice if I know somebody. You know which books I have, and I know somebody personally that the name on the book is somebody I know. I have to own the book. It's a must. It's
You're right.
There's no way. You know what book owner? I don't know nobody. I don't know the author, and I'm going to know somebody, know them personally that has something, and I don't have it. No, sir. That's just my protocol. You see, you mentioned your protocol when it comes to meeting people and them significant other. That's my protocol. That is my protocol. Julian Lee, bless up yourself, my dear. Bless up yourself.
Thank you.
Like Melissa, yes, Melissa. Me know me and Melissa would have get along fine in a way of bridging for a long time. Bless up yourself. All right. Charmaine, it was great, my dear.
Thank you so much. I appreciate being here. It was fun. This is great what you're doing. It's very reminiscent of being back home and calling in. Like Jamaicans love a calling show. So
I know, right?
I love the live.
Now wait for them to call me a Jamaican and say, Martin, we've been seeing what you're doing. We want you to it's all right. So can I make a confession? Lauryn Hill has this song off her one album, one of the greatest albums of all. Which say, all I wanted was to sell like 500 and get a superstar since my first album, Blooded. So for me, all I wanted was to have my book in Fontana Pharmacy and like to have my book in like Fontana Pharmacy and do like a book tour. And that's it. I never had to do anything else as far as it relates to publishing a book. And right now you can go get my book in Fontana. So I'm good. You know what I mean? Like, and it's so crazy how Barnes and Noble is here. There's so many things here that I could do, but somehow Fontana Pharmacy is the place that my book needed to be in Fontana Pharmacy. You know, it's like it's crazy. It's crazy how that is. Like we just kind of have these childhood things that we want to do, and you know what I mean. All right, but Charmaine, take care, man.
Take care. Thank you so much.
Yes, my dear. Look more.
All right.
All right, peoples, that's the ball game. That is the ball game. If that was your first time checking into the Evelyn People show, I sure do appreciate y'all. We're here every Saturday typically, and Charmaine was great today. Last week it was me alone. Week before I had some guests. I always have guests. If I feel like wiling out myself, I do that. But yeah, if you don't have the book, Charmaine read 3 poems, and I do appreciate her, from my book back here, Love, Life, Confrontation, Expression, Selection from the Chronicles of a Black Man. Like I mentioned, it's available in Fontana Pharmacies in Jamaica. It's available on Amazon.com worldwide. If this was your first time, when it's time to go, I don't have no final statement, no benediction, no nothing. I'll just be like out.